has heard of Eli Cohen?
Yeah. I know his grandson.
Not grandson.
No, sorry, it's great nephew.
Great nephew.
Great nephew. In the 1960s, Eli Cohen was recruited by the Mossad, and you have to understand what kind of project this is. How much time and effort the Mossad puts into every single agency. This person was recruited, and he was taught, he knew Arabic because he was born in Egypt, but he was taught how to be a Muslim. And then he was set off in the 1960s, he was sent off to Argentina.
Now, just quickly.
Right, he was sent off in Argentina in the 1960s, and he came as a Arab businessman, and he connected to the Syrian community there. He made a lot of friends. And after a few years, he said to them, you know what, he wants to come back and go back to Syria, to Damascus.
Make Aliyah.
He wants to make Aliyah back to Syria, exactly. Now he comes, you know, every person when they come, like just the Havdil, right? When someone wants to write a sefer, you need sort of haskamas, right? You have to write haskamas that it's a good sefer from rabbis. So the Havdil El Sofei Havdalah, when he comes to Syria, he brings all these haskamos. He's like the best friend of all the top Syrian community there in Argentina. After he's there a few months, he comes back to Syria. And in Syria, he becomes friendly with the top generals of the Syrian army. This is all in the 60s. His house is right across the street from the main Syrian, like basically from the Syrian Pentagon, from the main Syrian chief of staff. He has parties in his house. He has everything in his house. He befriends everyone. He's like a very rich businessman. He even is friendly with Assad himself. And there for a few years, he's an Israeli spy. And think of it, guys. Think of it. Think of someone living every single day in an enemy state in Syria by himself, right? And any slip of mouth, you go to the mosque. He's not Muslim. He's not Muslim from birth. Think of it. Think of many things that we know to do just because, like, we were born in a certain society and environment. There's some jokes that we know. There's some things that we know. There's some things that we just grew up with. And this is someone who comes from afar. He knows Arabic, but he doesn't know how to be a Muslim. He doesn't know how to stay in with everyone. He doesn't know everyone's jokes. He comes here, and for 3 years, he befriends everyone. And the Syrians let him into everyone. They're sure that he's Syrian. They let him into all the army bases. They let him in, and they go around the whole country. Now, during 1940s, and from 1948 until 1967, all this area is still part of Syria. Ramat Golan is all part of Syria, and he comes. And he tells the Syrians something very, very interesting. He tells them, I see all your army bases. But the problem with your army bases here is that, anyone can see them from the top. So I'm going to give you an advice. Give you advice to plant large eucalyptus trees, that you see here. Eucalyptus trees. Eucalyptus. Whatever. Each one is okay. And therefore, you'll be sort of, from the Israeli army, they won't be able to see you guys, and you'll be camouflaged, and everything will be okay. He tells us back to Tel Aviv, he says that, every place that they have planted eucalyptus trees means that there's a base there. The opposite. And that's how he knows. And this is a spy that, according to what we have today, is someone who has infiltrated the highest levels of Syria and helped so much before the 1967 war, before Israel came back and conquered Ramat Golan. Unfortunately, 3 years after he was there, the Syrians sort of started feeling that there's something wrong here. I don't know exactly. Either there was it's not really clear if there was an informant or they heard radio transmitters. Every day he had transmissions to Tel Aviv. So what they did was they muted all the transmission. They muted all the radio one night, and then they listened in and they saw for sure that he was giving in signals to Tel Aviv, and they caught him. And I wanted to show you a picture of him. They tortured him, and they hung him in the main square of Damascus. And there were a lot of the Israelis tried to get him out, to strike a deal. Even the Pope came in and said, you should be let out. But the Syrians were so shocked.
No, I want to see a picture.
They were so shocked that someone's been here. It's like, one of the best friends of Assad, one of the best friends of the Syrian prime minister, the Syrian president, has been all the time a spy. And they were like caught by shock that, and they've never they've never sort of recovered from it. Eli Cohen's is still buried in Syria today. And this is something that we, just to learn from him, that these spies are also here today. We don't know where they are. But all over the country, there are people, all over the world, there are people like this that risk their lives and help the Israeli army in terms of getting intelligence for Jews to be safe around the world.
Not if you spy in America.
Well, now you should spy in America? What?
Yeah, because they just send you back.
They send you back. Okay, so that's what I want, the last thing I wanted to talk about.
Lucky.
There's someone else,
Huh?
a different spy. This is a spy that was recruited
Not really.
by the Mossad.